Hey, what's going on everyone? Daniel Betancourt here with RE/MAX Town Center, and today I'm going to be giving you 10 tips on purchasing new construction homes. So if you're planning to purchase new construction soon, stay tuned. The first tip I'm going to give you today when purchasing new construction homes is to ask about inventory homes. So an inventory home is one that has already been built. Sometimes it's a spec home, which means the builder built it speculating that a buyer will come for it at a later date. But an inventory home is any home that the builder has that's already been built, and usually builders will offer big discounts on those homes, also special incentives towards your closing costs because they want those homes off of their books. It becomes a liability once it's built. They have to pay to maintain the property. So when you're purchasing new construction, don't forget to ask the builder what they have in inventory. The second tip I'm going to give you today when purchasing new construction homes is to look out for the fiscal year end from the builder. Many builders, they're huge corporations, so they're trying to hit numbers for the years, and their fiscal year end doesn't always correlate with the end of the calendar year. So for some of the builders, their fiscal year end is at the end of November. So once you reach October, November, those salespeople for the builders, they really get aggressive on pricing because they want to hit all of their numbers for the year. That's the time to get the biggest discounts on any home that a builder's building, especially one that's already been built, like my previous tip, inventory homes. They can't close on a home that's to be built if you go under contract on it a month before they hit their fiscal year end. So the only homes that they can close before the fiscal year end, if you're approaching that date, are homes that are already built. So the fiscal year end tip goes with the last tip of searching for inventory homes. So sometimes when you're in the last quarter of the year, don't be afraid to ask the salesperson, when is your fiscal year end? This next tip is crucial. When you're purchasing a new construction home, just like when you're purchasing an existing home that was pre-owned by someone, you want to get a home inspection. When you're purchasing a new construction home, the home should be perfect. There should be no problems with it. Sometimes when you're walking through the home as a homeowner or as a home buyer, you don't know what to look for. You look around, everything looks shiny and new and pretty, so you think it's all good. You think because this is a new home, what can be wrong with it? Well, a home inspector is going to get into those areas that you wouldn't as a home buyer. The home inspector will get into the attic, climb on the roof, just look for any imperfections, anything that's not compliant with building code that as a buyer and even as a realtor, we don't know what to look for specifically as it relates to building codes. So always hire a home inspector when you're purchasing a new construction home. This next tip is really important. Whenever you're purchasing a new construction home, whenever you're purchasing a home, whenever you're doing anything with a contract, it's really important to get all of the terms in writing. People can make all kinds of verbal claims and offers. If they don't put it in writing, you have no way to enforce those. You have no way to claim those later. It's really important to get any incentives, any offers, any upgrades or improvements or promises or favors that you have an understanding of. Get everything in writing. It makes it better for you as a home buyer. It also makes it better for the other party involved in the contract. Always get everything in writing. This next tip is really important. When you're purchasing a new construction home, you're using a contract that has been written by the builder's attorney to protect the builder's interests. This contract is not in place to protect your interests as a home buyer. So it's really important to read all of the fine print, read everything in detail. It goes back to my previous tip of getting everything in writing, but beyond that, you want to see what they've already put in writing before you've discussed anything. What the salesperson tells you verbally may not match what the contract says in its fine print. So it's really important, if you don't understand it, please hire a real estate attorney. They're used to reading these types of contracts. Sometimes things are written in confusing ways. They can confuse real estate agents. They can confuse home buyers. They can even confuse a salesperson for the builder. So it's really important to read the fine print. If you're uncomfortable with anything at all, before you sign, you want to bring that up to the salespeople involved and just read the fine print. I can't stress that enough. I just wanted to add something quickly to reading the fine print. In these contracts, sometimes the builders will allow themselves up to 2 years to complete the home. Here you are thinking your home's going to be done in 6 months or 4 months, and the builder in writing says it allows them up to 2 years. That's something you want to look out for. Just read the fine print. This next tip has to do with homeowner associations. So many new construction homes are built in communities that require a homeowners association. If you are purchasing a home in a homeowner association community, you want to be familiar with the rules and regulations of that homeowners association. So it's really important to ask the salesperson for the rules and regulations of the homeowners association. You also want to know what are the fees of the homeowners association. You also want to know which amenities are included and paid for by the homeowners association, or any services paid for by them. You want to familiarize yourself very much with the details of the homeowners association before you go under contract on a new construction home. This next tip really has two parts to it. So when you're purchasing a new construction home, it's really important to find out what the lot premiums are. So a lot premium is an extra fee that you pay for a higher end or premium lot within the community. So if your lot is facing woods or a conservation area or a lake, or you have no neighbors, or you have a larger lot than most of the neighbors, typically the builder will charge a lot premium for that. It could be $5,000, it could be $50,000. You want to familiarize yourself with that. A lot of times builders will say, we sell homes from the 400s. But then when you get there, yes, the homes are from the 400s, but there are no free lots to put those $400,000 homes on. The lots might range from $10,000 to $50,000. So it's really important to familiarize yourself with the lot premiums. The second part of this is when you're purchasing a new construction home, especially in a community that only has a few floor plans. So in other words, you might be purchasing a floor plan that's similar to 25% of your neighbors. It's really important when you're choosing a lot or a home site in your community, you want to choose one that differentiates you from your neighbors, because down the road eventually you may want to sell this house, and if you're selling your home and it's just like 25 other ones in your community, you're going to have a harder time selling that home. So it's important to try to have a home that has a water view or a conservation view or a larger lot or no rear neighbors, some differentiator to make your home premium when it's compared to your neighbors, because down the road it's going to improve your home value and it's going to help you sell sooner, and you're also going to enjoy that home site more. This next tip is important for a lot of home buyers, especially higher end home buyers. When you're purchasing new construction, you want to find out from the builder, will they make any customizations? Many builders will not deviate at all from their blueprints and floor plans. Some homeowners want a larger closet here, or a door 6 inches this way or that way, or they want an extra door going out to the backyard on one side of the house. Some builders are happy to make those changes to the floor plan. Other builders will absolutely not do that. So never assume that a builder will make this small modification to you, especially once you're under contract. You want to ask those questions in advance of the salesperson. Will the builder be willing to make customizations to the floor plan if I'd like them? And if that's something really important to you, then you might have to find a different builder. This tip right here is worth thousands and thousands of dollars. When you're purchasing a new construction home, you have to familiarize yourself with the closing costs that you will incur in the transaction. A new construction sale is not the same as a traditional home sale or an existing home sale as it relates to closing costs. Here in Florida, most standard transactions that are of existing homes, we use similar contracts that were created by the Florida Association of Realtors. They outline who pays what closing costs. When you're buying a new construction home for a builder, each builder writes their own contract. It's written by their attorneys, and they dictate who pays what closing costs. Most of the time, the home builders will put traditional seller closing costs into the buyer column, which increases your closing costs. So if a lender has told you expect to pay $20,000 in closing costs on your new home, but that lender did not know you were entertaining the idea of buying new construction, the new construction closing costs could be $7,000 or $8,000 more. Sometimes those closing costs can be negotiated back to the seller side in the form of incentives, but it's really important for you to know which closing costs you will pay when you're purchasing a new construction home. Hey, here we are to the last and final tip. This one is really important, maybe more important than all of the other tips that I've spoken about so far, because it encompasses all of the tips that I've talked about up to this point. When you're purchasing a new construction home, it's really important to have your own representation. Do you know why? It's because that salesperson who works for the builder in the model home, they're representing the builder, the seller. They are loyal to their employer and looking out for their own interests. You need someone who's representing your own interests. So it's really important when you're working in real estate, looking for a home, purchasing new construction, purchasing a resale, whatever it is you're doing, you want someone representing you. You don't want to work necessarily with the seller's realtor, because their job, they were hired by the seller to look out for their own interests. So when you're looking for a realtor to represent you, you want someone that has experience selling new construction homes, someone who is very familiar with the area that you're looking in, someone who is familiar with the contracts and familiar with the different builders in town. Someone who will remember to bring up all of the tips that I've spoken about up to this point in the video. So I can't stress it enough, when you're purchasing new construction, please have your own representation. Listen, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you a lot. Please share this video. Please subscribe to this channel so you can be updated with new videos as they come out. If you're purchasing new construction, if you're selling a home, if you're buying a home that's existing and it's not a new construction home, if you'd like real estate advice, whether you're here in Central Florida or anywhere in the country, please give me a shout, give me a comment. You can reach out to me by phone. My phone number is 407-375-9142. You can email me at danielbetancourt@remax.net. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. If you're not looking here in Central Florida, I can connect you with someone who really knows what they're doing in your area. But if you're here in Central Florida, please give me a shout, even if it's to say hi, even if it's just to ask a few questions. I don't mind. I love doing it. And just want to say thank you again and good luck with your home search.